Welcome to the Intro to Form 101, part of a 5-segment series that explains the fundamentals of good running form. Improving your athlete's running technique will help them in 4 key ways. They'll run with greater ease and efficiency. They'll be less prone to injury. They'll become more aware of their body mechanics. And ultimately, they'll improve their endurance while getting stronger and faster. These benefits will help your runners enjoy running and reach their fullest potential. Let's first consider 6 important principles to guide your coaching and the technique training you design for your team. Then, take a look at our 4 other Form 101 segments for specific elements of good form. First of all, running is a technical sport, and high-performance running is a learned skill, not an innate ability. As with any sport, good technique needs to be taught and continually practiced. Secondly, the best way to teach form is by regularly practicing specialized exercises and drills. It's not enough simply to point out how your runners should improve their form. In fact, relying on your instructions alone can lead to injury. On the other hand, drills help your team break good form down into more manageable elements and concepts. In time, these components become well-practiced skills. They become habits that athletes perform easily and can automatically incorporate into the complete running stride. Form drills like these also isolate and exaggerate the movements of the running stride in order to build the strength, power, and efficient neuromuscular reactions needed for each component of running. This enables the body to sustain good form over longer periods of time. For example, the high knees exercise exaggerates the knee lift in running to develop the muscular strength and quick action that make good knee lift sustainable. You'll find this and other exercises in the form section of A Running Start. The third principle is to evaluate the level of your athletes when designing your form training. Consider their strength, their mental maturity, their skill, and their motivation to refine their form. In general, high school athletes are mentally and physically capable of focusing on the finer aspects of form and training for peak performance. At this age, it's important to teach both the body mechanics behind good form and the logic behind your teaching methods. This will increase their comprehension, their motivation to improve, and their receptiveness to your training. Since each of your athletes is different, the training and coaching you give them should vary accordingly. Beginners may need to start with the basics, and even your more experienced runners will have different strengths and weaknesses. It's also important to recognize that runners will have different levels of motivation in order to find the right balance between challenging them and pushing them past what's enjoyable. The fourth and a related principle is to always account for each of your runners' anatomical structure or body build. Remember that there are a variety of physical or structural differences among runners that could cause flaws in their form, flaws that drills and exercises may not completely correct. An example is runners with flat feet who may have trouble running on the balls of the feet. So avoid pushing runners to do movements that are uncomfortable. And if you become aware of runners with structural problems, consider seeking assistance from a sports doctor. The other important consideration is the effect that adolescence has on the physical builds of your runners, particularly those at the beginning of high school. Due to their rapidly changing bodies, some movements may feel awkward at first. That's okay. As you continue working on form through exercises such as these, the movements will become less awkward. Just be careful not to ask your athletes to move in ways that feel uncomfortable, as that can frustrate them and can also lead to injuries. As you work to correct detrimental running form, remember to do it gradually, working within each athlete's limits. Principle number 5 is that while there's no single perfect form for running, there are techniques that are safer and more efficient than others, and that ultimately lead to better performance. In our subsequent Form 101 segments, we present general form concepts, but keep in mind that ideal form will vary with different situations, such as sprinting versus distance running, and hill running versus flat running. And the sixth and final principle is to remember that as important as good form is, your primary goal as a coach should be to keep running fun. After all, happy runners are the ones who keep running. We've grouped the elements of good running form into 4 categories: fundamental athletic skills, running posture, leg movements, and arm movements. Each of these categories has its own dedicated video segment that demonstrates widely accepted aspects of good form. To get started, choose the segment you'd like to play first. Then check out the activity segments in A Running Start for ways to teach those form elements. Enjoy and good luck!